and welcome to Plus Sports, the show where we give a different perspective on sports as we look at the stories of athletes who not only amaze, but also inspire. I'm Patricia Bermudez-Hizon. Here we will give you not just the latest in the sporting world, but also the stories behind the athletes' struggles, victories, and motivation. We go beyond the stats as we celebrate the great athletic feats with you, so we continue to track the latest significant news from the Olympics. That's right, we go straight to our take on Tokyo. Several Filipino athletes competed today across different sports, but today we begin in boxing at the Coco Gigan Arena, where two Filipino boxers made noise for the Philippines. Middleweight Eumir Marcial was dominant in his round of 16 victory over Algeria's Younes Nemuchi with a referee stoppage in round one. He'll be moving on to the quarterfinals, where he will face Arman Darchinian of Armenia, which will take place on Sunday, August 1. The match was stopped in the very first round due to a cut in his opponent's eye after the 25-year-old Filipino boxer also scored a knockdown early in the fight with a flurry of punches, sending Nemuchi to the canvas. The Southeast Asian Games gold medalist continued to batter his opponent until the ringside doctor determined that he would not be able to continue, giving Marcial the quick victory. Meanwhile, Filipina boxer Irish Magno fell to Thailand's Thomas Chitpong via unanimous decision in the round of 16 in women's flyweight. But even in defeat, the 30-year-old Magno still made history by becoming the first Filipina boxer to qualify for the Olympics. We're still very, very proud of you, Irish. Now, from the boxing ring, we go to the fairways, where Pinoy golfer Juvik Pagunsan is still competing in round one of the men's golf tournament at the Kasumigaseki Country Club. Pagunsan is one of the three Filipino golfers competing in Tokyo, with Yuka Saso and Bianca Pagdanganan also joining the women's competition. Meanwhile, 2 days after winning the gold for this country, weightlifter Hidilyn Diaz returned home to the Philippines and received a warm welcome from all of her kababayans. Diaz brandished the gold medal that she won at the women's 55-kilogram event on Monday night when she landed at the Naiya airport and was welcomed by a parade and well-wishers, as well as representatives from the POC and the PSC. Diaz was also able to speak to President Rodrigo Duterte in a Zoom call. The 30-year-old will now undergo a mandatory quarantine period before she can go home. Aside from Diaz, another Filipina Olympian who returned home was skateboarder Margielyn Didal. Didal finished 7th in the final of the women's street skateboarding event, but caught the world's attention through her performance and lovable personality. With day 5 of the Olympics in the books, we can now take a look at the latest Olympic medal tally. Midway through the day 6 of action, host country Japan is still on top of the medal table with 13 golds and 22 overall medals, while China is running second with 12 golds and 27 total medals. The United States, meanwhile, is still back at the third spot with 11 golds but 31 total medals. The Russian athletes competing under the Russian Olympic Committee flag are fourth with 7 golds and 24 total medals, while Australia rounds out the top 5 with 6 gold and 16 total medals. After Australia, it is Great Britain, South Korea, Germany, France, and the Netherlands that complete the top 10 in the medal table. Over at the 29th place is the Philippines. The country entered the board with 1 gold medal thanks to Hidilyn Diaz's victory in weightlifting, but with boxer Nesty Patecio assured of at least a bronze and other athletes competing, the country might soon add more medals to that tally. So we keep an eye out for the other boxers who continue to win in their bouts, and we are, of course, praying for the success also of the remaining Pinoy athletes that we have in Tokyo. And that is our take on Tokyo. The marathon is one of the last events to be held at any Olympics, but it's also one of the most prestigious. The marathon is the ultimate test of endurance, with only the best conditioned and most seasoned runners able to complete it. The man who won the last Olympic marathon in Rio 5 years ago and is considered as one of the favorites heading into Tokyo is Kenya's Eliud Kipchoge. Because of his accomplishments of finishing the marathon in Rio, we'll talk about Kipchoge right here on Athlete's Feet. The 36-year-old Kipchoge is a seasoned long-distance runner, winning at the World Athletics Championships, Olympics, and marathons all over the world. When he was a young student in Kenya, he reportedly ran 2 miles just to be able to get to school. And that would actually be a preview of how good a runner he would eventually be. He currently holds the official marathon world record and even ran a marathon in under 2 hours back in 2019. Because of all these achievements, Kipchoge has been dubbed as one of the greatest marathoners of his era. But even at 36 years young, he seems to be far from done and is looking to get his second Olympic gold medal to add to his still growing resume. The marathon is an event that not only requires physical strength, but also mental strength. And Kipchoge's story from his humble beginnings in Kenya to being at the pinnacle of his sport and not stopping anytime soon is really an inspiring one. And that is our feature on today's Athlete's Feet. In the sporting world, there is a heavy burden that comes with greatness, and it is a weight that can put a strain on one's physical and mental health. Many athletes have already spoken about how their athletic careers have impacted their mental health and shined a light on the importance of taking care of one's mental well being. Recently, one of the biggest stars of the Tokyo Olympics has also spoken out about its importance, and that is gymnast Simone Biles, for her bravery to speak on the subject and for her incredible accomplishments as a gymnast. We will talk about the 24-year-old right here on Women in Sports. Even at just 24 years of age, Biles has already secured her place in gymnastics history as the most decorated American gymnast. She is a 4-time Olympic gold medalist, a 19-time medalist at the World Artistic Gymnastics Championship, and won many golds in other competitions. Heading into the Tokyo Olympics, all eyes were on Biles as she was expected again to dominate as she did in Rio 5 years ago. But she was unable to finish the team final event, citing her mental health as a reason. Biles then withdrew from the women's individual all-around final, again citing her mental health as a reason. It remains unclear if Biles can still compete at the Games, especially in the individual events, where she is expected to contend for golds once again. Her decision may be controversial, but it received a lot of praise among fellow athletes and Olympians and serves as a reminder for us to also take care of our mental well-being and be kind, not just to others, but also to ourselves. For these Olympic Games, Plus Sports has partnered with the International Sports Press Association, or AIPS, to get more insights on the Games. And joining us today is a member of the AIPS and a journalist from Nigeria who is in Tokyo and comes to us from the Media Press Center, Chibogu Nadigbulam. Thanks so much for joining us here in Chibogu. The biggest news comes from gymnastics, of course, with Simone Biles withdrawing from the team competition to focus on her mental well-being. Now, she posted on social media that she felt the weight of the world on her shoulders and was not in the right state of mind to continue the competition. So please talk to us about the impact that this has made on the Games and what is being said about this.
So Simone Biles, of course, is one of the biggest athletes in these Games, and everyone knows that. And it was huge. It was a huge shock to see her pull out the team all around, and eventually coming out to say that she's not also going to participate. Actually, it was the U.S. gymnastics, that came out to say she wasn't going to participate final as well. it came as a huge shock even to the journalists themselves. Performing in the vault in and getting the lowest score ever. She has never gotten such a low score before at the Olympics. One definitely knows that something is wrong. And having the bravery to actually open up on the fact that she is having mental issues, like she has mental concerns, it's something that it's huge for everyone. So the journalists, it was on every newspaper. It was like a big story. I have a colleague here in Tokyo. It was a big story in that she thought that she had already retired for the night, but she had to be called up back to TV, to get on that story. So it was something that everyone had to pick up immediately because, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, she is one of the biggest stars of the games, and everyone have been looking forward to if she was going to defend her titles here after winning like 4 gold medals in Rio 2016 and a bronze medal. So you can imagine how much of how big that story was for everyone here and how it spread all over the world and internationally. So that was how journalists were able to receive it. I was having a conversation with a colleague here this evening. We're trying to dissect the impact of what she did and how people are reacting to it because there are different views at the end of the day, but she did what was best for her, and that's the most important thing. She has to think of herself.
Yes, Biles said to put your mental health first. And this has been getting a lot of positive and supportive reactions from many notable athletes, even Michael Phelps, Jerry Millen, and so many more. Do share with us, though, your take on what impact this is making among athletes competing on the Olympic stage now.
So, at the moment, I haven't spoken to any athletes, regarding this particular issue, but I have a colleague who was able to speak to an African athlete regarding this. But the response she got, it's not the same because, to be honest, this is an issue that is treated differently everywhere. You would want to look at Africa or look at different countries in Africa and look at a lot of things that they've gone through, that we've gone through because I'm African, I'm from Nigeria, and you would want to say, oh my goodness, like we really do not we have mental toughness and all of that. But at the same time, we have to realize that these people come on this big stage with the weight of the world, like Simone Biles mentioned, on their shoulder, with the weight of their countries on their shoulders. People are looking up to them. People are looking forward to what they can deliver. And one of the quotes of Simone Biles was the fact that she didn't feel that she was doing this for herself anymore. She felt that she was doing it for people. And what does that give to you? Because at the end of the day, you're doing something because you love doing it. And if you no longer feel the joy of doing it, then there's a problem. She said when she was doing the vault that she just didn't understand what she was doing mid-air anymore, and eventually when she landed, she got the lowest score and she felt like, I mean, this is not her best. She's not giving her best. And if you listen to from what she said, she had to pull out, not because it wasn't necessarily because she felt she wasn't in the right frame of mind per se. Yes, that was part of it, but one of the reasons she gave was that she didn't want the team to fail because of her. So that is someone being, selfless there, trying to pull out herself, saying, I don't want to be the reason why we're going to fail. I have seen I'm not in the right frame of mind to do this and do the best that I can be. So it's important that I let you guys, you guys can do it. And she came out to cheer, to support the team. If maybe she would have just gone in there because she actually walked out first. She could have just stayed backstage and remained there, but she came out with all smiles, and that was a great thing that she did. So one of the huge impact that this has for younger athletes, even other athletes, is the fact that people are speaking up. Naomi Osaka spoke up. This thing is real. It's not just about the physical health anymore, it's also about the mental health. People are getting depressed for various reasons, even people who are successful. So it's not just even about failure. So you can even succeed and still get into depression because you're like, being expected to replicate what you've done. People want you to go higher. People want you to go better. They feel you're superhuman, that you can do it all, but you can't. You're human at the end of the day, and you have these feelings. You have a lot of things going on around you. So I feel that bringing up this side of her is also showing others that they can do it. One other thing is when I was having this conversation with a colleague, she mentioned the fact that Simone Biles can afford to withdraw from a tournament. She can afford to give up on a tournament. How about some athletes who cannot do that because they are depending on the money from that tournament? It's there. That issue is there. So imagine that kind of athlete would not want to come out to say what is wrong. They would want to fight all the way, no matter how they're feeling. But here's the thing. I mean, is it only when probably you hear that an athlete has committed suicide, or, that you begin to be like, what happened? What would have gone wrong? What was going through? I mean, that's when you begin to investigate. Oh, she was feeling this way or she wasn't feeling that way. How about we begin to realize now that these people feel this kind of way and have this kind of feelings, so that if it can be stopped, then it's better stopped now and they can live their life and be happy. So this is a very good thing, bringing up this conversation, because it's not even about the athletes anymore. In this time of the pandemic, everyone is going through their one issue or the other, having to face things that are making them go crazy. So at the end of the day, I think it's an inspiration for everyone. So I want to believe that others will be able to speak up, talk about whatever issues that they are having, whether it has to do with success, failure, whatever it is, so that they can get help if they need. Let it not be a situation where at the end of the day, we get to lose people for no reason and begin to wonder what went wrong. I mean, this life is here for us to live, so let everyone be happy.
Wow, you are sharing so many powerful insights there. Thanks for talking to us about this sensitive and important issue on mental health and reminding us about the different circumstances that athletes have and how each really have to carry the kind of burden differently. So I ask you now, what is next for Simone? What are you hearing about her continued participation in the Olympics to defend her title?
So the U.S. gymnastics were the one who released a statement saying that Simone Biles will not participate in the final. That's the individual women's all-around final. And in that statement, they mentioned that they will continue to evaluate her mental state of mind to know if she will be fit enough for the finals coming up on August 1st, August 2nd, and August 3rd. She's also the defending champion in most of those finals coming up, most of them. So I would want to think that, of course, she would want to um, get there on that stage and get those medals. But one message I think that she has tried to put out here with what she's done in these past days is the fact that mental health matters, and it matters even more than gold. So it's important, because if you're not in the best mental state of mind, you won't be able to get that gold medal. It's going to be very difficult. So it's important for you to actually be great physically and also great mentally for you to eventually get that gold medal. I mean, we were here talking about Simone Biles, but even Naomi Osaka was talking about the pressure she had uh, because she's the Japanese, she's the face of the games and everything. She lit the cauldron to set the games on the way, and then everyone was looking forward to what they would expect. It's her first Olympics, yes, but at the end of the day, some people are even forgetting that it's her first Olympics, because Naomi Osaka is a four-time Grand Slam champion, and it was expected that maybe on home soil she would get the gold medal, but she'd been knocked out in the third round, and she admitted the pressure played a part. So these are the things. It's just the same thing that we're seeing here, and we don't know for now if Simone Biles will be able to. We hope. I really hope that she's going to be able to do that, because I think that is going to mean victory to an extent. In 1 week, passing on from having these concerns to eventually hitting gold is really going to be a great story for people out there as well. I mean, in all ways, it's going to be inspiring to see that she was able to recover well enough to get on to actually participate and hopefully get a medal or maybe defend her title. So let's see what happens. But personally, I'm hoping that she really gets to do it because it's going to be a big message for the whole world.
Well said. Thank you so much for your time and giving your analysis on Simone Biles and the mental health situation she is dealing with and other nuggets of wonderful wisdom. We really appreciate you. That was Chibogbu Nadigbulam from Nigeria, a member of the AIPS talking to us from Tokyo. And that wraps up our discussion on Simone Biles on women in sports. We now move to a sport Filipinos absolutely love, and that is basketball. Olympic basketball has just been so exciting, and I don't mean just 5-on-5. 3x3 basketball made its Olympic debut, and we saw some new and familiar faces being crowned as gold medalists. Meanwhile, the PBA had an exciting triple header that saw some stunning results, and we have some Gilas news for you to top it all off. So here's everything you need to know from the hard court on Inbound. We talk about Olympic 3x3 basketball results, and we start on the women's side. Team USA took gold in the Olympic debut of 3x3 as they won 18-15 over the Russian Olympic Committee in a really exciting hardcourt battle made of WNBA players like center Stephanie Dolson of the Chicago Sky, who was part of the 2018 FIBA World Cup team who won gold, Dallas Wings Alicia Gray and Kelsey Plum of the Las Vegas Aces, and her teammate Jackie Young, who was a late replacement because of a positive COVID test result on Lou Samuelson. Dolson dominated the glass with 9 rebounds and scored 7 points. Plum, who last year got an Achilles injury, went 3 for 0 or 0 for 3 actually on her 2-point attempts, but still provided the spark needed and added 5 crucial points. Defense was key to get the gold, and Gray was critical at stopping the tournament top scorer, Olga Frolkina, and limited her to a single point. So congratulations on that gold medal win, Team USA. Let's go to the men's 3x3 now, where it was a heart-stopping battle between Latvia and the ROC. Injury haunted the Latvian team as Edgar's crewman's shoe tore apart, and it resulted in an injury. So Latvia had to play with no healthy bench, but still they out-hustled the ROC, who in the semifinals, by the way, I had to say, shocked and beat top-seeded Serbia to get to the gold medal game. What a route that was for them. But the game was tight all throughout until Latvia superstar and tournament top scorer Carlis Lesmanis dropped the big 2-pointer to get to 21 points, giving his country the gold medal in the men's 3x3 basketball with a final tally of 21-18. We are big fans of 3x3 basketball here on Plus Sports, and hopefully one day we'll be able to see a Philippine team participate in the Olympic Games for this discipline. We now go to local hoops. Here's a look at the latest results in the PBA. In the opening game of Wednesday's triple header, the San Miguel Bearmen made it 3 straight wins after dropping their opening match with a 99-80 blowout of the Blackwater Boston. The Bearmen used a balanced attack in their win with 7 players finishing in double figures, led by 6-time MVP Junmar Fajardo, 16 points. The Bossing, meanwhile, were led by Simon and Ciso's game-high 25 points as they remained winless in 4 games. In the second game, the Alaska Aces got back to their winning ways by handing the Rain or Shine Elasto Painters their first loss of the conference, 74-48. Yes, 48. Rain or Shine narrowly avoided making history in their defeat, with their 48 points scored being only the second lowest scoring output by a team in league history. Big man Rodney Brondial led the Aces with 13 points as they evened their record and moved up to 2-2 in the standings, while the Elasto Painters, who shot just 20% from the field, were led by Adrian Wong's 9 points. In the third game, the Meralco Bolts also went back to their winning ways, defeating the Phoenix Super LPG Fuel Masters 91-80. And the win gives the Bolts a 3-1 record to keep in step with San Miguel and Rainer Shine. Alain Maliksi top scored for the Bolts with 24 points, while Chris Newsom added with 23. The Fuel Masters, meanwhile, could not win despite Matthew Wright's game-high 29 points as they fell to their third loss against just one win. The Philippine Cup continues on Friday with a triple header. In the first game, the winless Terra Firma Deep will duke it out with the undefeated Magnolia Hotshots Pambansang Manok. In the second game, the TNT Tropang Giga returns to action and faces the Rainer Shine Elasto Painters, who are hungry to bounce back from their loss to Alaska and their subpar offensive performance. And in the third game, Barangay Ginebra San Miguel looks to bounce back from their loss to Magnolia on Sunday when they face the Northport Batang Pier. How will Northport big man Greg Slaughter perform against his former team, Ginebra? We can't wait to find out. Meanwhile, as Philippine athletes continue to compete at the Olympics, Gilas Pilipinas continues to do us proud at the 2021 King Abdullah Cup in Saudi Arabia. In their most recent game, they beat Jordan B 90-63, with Dwight Ramos leading the way with 21 big points. Gilas earlier defeated Saudi Arabia for their first win of the tournament, and the national team hopes to finish in the top 4 to advance to the knockout semifinal round. What a jam-packed segment that was on today's Inbound. Going back, it's day 6 of the Tokyo Olympics, and yet there are still Filipino athletes competing in their respective sports and showcasing their talents. And it's really encouraging to see that the country's athletes are not able to qualify in such a wide range of sporting events, from golf to rowing to swimming. It also tells me, and it also shows me, that the talent of Filipinos is world class and can keep up with the best athletes at the highest levels of competitive sport. We may have gotten that breakthrough gold medal, but our athletes are far from done winning in Tokyo. Now, for more sports stories here and abroad that not only just inform but also inspire, catch Plus Sports every day on Plus Network. That's it for us here at Plus Sports. I'm Patricia Bermudez Hizon. Thank you guys for watching.